Chosen one, you must understand that the immediate shift in the atmosphere when you enter a room is not accidental, because this one thing about you sets you apart from the crowd. You are a gift from the Most High, carrying a divine frequency that recalibrates every space you inhabit. You are a chosen soul, a direct manifestation of celestial favor, and your ability to rearrange environments without saying a word is the ultimate proof that you are not just part of the crowd, but a sovereign force sent for this specific time. You know what titanium aura quartz looks like. It is a crystal-clear quartz at its base that has been bonded with precious metal at the molecular level. When light hits it, it does not reflect a single color. It releases gold first, and then every color of the visible spectrum simultaneously, like a rainbow that caught fire. People who encounter this crystal cannot put it down. They cannot fully explain why. They simply know they want to keep looking. That crystal is the closest physical description of what your energy looks like to the world around you. You are not one-dimensional, and you have never been. There is gold at your center, something warm, something foundational, something that people feel as safety and substance and realness before they even form a conscious thought about it. Surrounding that gold is a second layer, a prismatic layer that shifts and shimmers depending on the angle from which you are perceived. This means you are not experienced the same way by every person who encounters you, not because you are inconsistent, but because you are deep. Different people receive different gifts from the same source. Someone who needs healing feels your compassion. Someone who needs courage feels your fire. Someone who has been carrying pain alone for too long feels, without you doing anything deliberate, like things might actually be okay. You are doing all of this without trying, and that is the part that is both terrifying and extraordinary. You are not performing any of it. Now here is the detail inside that picture worth paying close attention to. That prismatic surface surrounding your gold does something beyond aesthetics. It reflects and it deflects. Whatever approaches you with a wrong or hostile intention strikes that surface and bounces directly back to its source. Anyone who tries to spy on you, study you, or reverse engineer what you carry strikes that wall and finds only their own reflection looking back at them. That barrier has never been penetrable, and it never will be. Both to beyond the deflection, there is also the nature of the gold itself that deserves your attention. Gold does not corrode. You can bury it through the hardest seasons imaginable and pull it back out completely unchanged. The same brilliance, the same weight, the same integrity. That is not a loose metaphor being applied here. That is a precise description of what has happened to the core of who you are through every difficult season you have survived. People tried to corrode you. Circumstances tried to corrode you. Seasons of isolation, confusion, and loss tried to corrode you. And yet the thing at the center of you, the thing the Most High placed there, came through every single one of those seasons unchanged. Still gold, still real, still radiating. Tadai, that is not resilience as a personality trait. That is divine composition. You were made to last. Your particular journey actually begins not today and not recently, but in a season that sits somewhere behind you. Tadai, you were in a younger version of yourself, or simply in an earlier chapter of your life, when you first started noticing something that you had no language for. You noticed that when you were present, the energy of whatever space you occupied changed, not dramatically, not with any announcement, but unmistakably. People straightened up, people opened up, people got quiet in a way that felt like genuine listening, even before you had said anything worth listening to. Conversations in your company went deeper than conversations outside of it, and people held on to what you said long after you had forgotten saying it. Instead of leaning into that truth, you retreated from it, because nobody gave you a framework to understand it. Nobody sat across from you and said clearly, What you are experiencing is real, and here is what it means. So you did what most extraordinary people do when they carry something they have no map for. You minimized it. You told yourself you were imagining things. You told yourself that everyone experienced this. You told yourself that believing it made you arrogant, so you performed smallness instead. You softened your real opinions. You laughed at things that were not funny, so that the people around you felt comfortable. You let conversations stay at the surface, because depth unsettled people, and you did not want to unsettle anyone. Humility is not a flaw, but you confused humility with invisibility, and those two things are not the same at all. Humility says, I know what I carry, and I hold it with care and gratitude. Invisibility says, I will pretend I do not carry it, so that no one is made to feel uncomfortable. You chose invisibility for a long season, and the weight of that choice is the particular kind of exhaustion that has followed you, not the exhaustion of working hard, but the exhaustion of containment, of pressing down constantly on something that was designed to expand, of pouring energy into keeping a lid on something that the Most High never intended to be contained. Here is the first real turn in everything I am telling you today. The weight you have been carrying was never because the gift was too heavy. It was because you were carrying it wrong. You were carrying it like a shameful secret. It was always meant to be carried like a crown. And here is what I also need you to hear about that entire season of hiding. It did not go unnoticed. Every moment you swallowed something brilliant to keep someone else comfortable, the Most High recorded it. Every time you dimmed yourself so that someone carrying far less light could feel less exposed, he saw it. Every time you influenced outcomes without credit and poured into people without acknowledgement, he registered every drop of it, not to punish you for the self-erasure, but because the account of what you gave quietly, what you poured out without anyone repaying, that account holds a balance. Balances of that kind do not sit indefinitely. What you sowed in hiddenness, you are about to reap in full visibility. What you gave without acknowledgement is returning with abundance attached. Toggle, the Most High does not forget what you did when nobody was watching. While you were occupied with making yourself smaller, something significant was unfolding in the world around you. Other people were noticing what you were working so hard to hide from yourself, and not all of them were on your side. There is someone, and you already sense who this is, even if you do not want to name it right now, who has been observing you with precision and intent for longer than you realize. This person picked up your signal with clarity, and from the very beginning, what this person felt in response to your presence was not admiration. It was threat assessment. You were studied. Every move was watched. Every relationship was monitored. Every pattern was catalogued, not out of care or genuine curiosity, but because information, to someone operating this way, functions as leverage. This person positioned themselves close enough to observe how you operate, and when the connections began forming around you, when it became clear that people elevated simply by existing near you, a deliberate decision was made. If this person could not have what you carry, then you would not be permitted to fully deploy it. A word was dropped in the right ear here. A half-truth was placed carefully there. Doubt was planted in soil that someone needed to keep unproductive. And here is the part that will land the hardest. Some of what you experienced as your own self-doubt over those seasons was not entirely self-generated. Some of it was seeded externally, by someone who required your uncertainty in order to maintain their own sense of security. This is not a frame of victimhood. This is a clear-eyed assessment of the landscape you have been operating in. You need to see it accurately so you can stop blaming yourself for what was never fully your own doing. Now, here is what I need you to sit with. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with pure confidence. The fact that someone invested that level of sustained strategic attention in keeping you small is itself the loudest possible testimony to what you carry. Nobody dedicates that kind of energy to monitoring and suppressing something ordinary. Mediocrity does not attract coordinated opposition. Only something genuinely powerful draws that level of response. The scale of the effort made against you confirms the scale of your gift. You've probably noticed a lot of Chosen One channels on YouTube have stopped publishing, videos pulled, voices silenced. The mainstream media is cracking down on us, but we will not give up our voice. Bullets. That's exactly why I'm putting you on to something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching Chosen Ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks, while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. Android. Join Destiny Engine to support your favorite channels and use it for your own rise. It's a 360 win. Start your Destiny Engine for $7 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description.
Once a day off.
Something started changing inside you and you probably felt it before you could name it. Things that used to get in no longer got in. Chaos that used to seep through the walls of your composure started bouncing off. Energy that used to settle into your body and sit there heavily, borrowed weight that was never yours to begin with, started returning to its origin without ever reaching what was real in you. The change was not dramatic. There was no announcement. It felt quieter than any threshold crossing you could point to. It felt like something internal finished constructing itself and locked into place, like a door sealed from the inside, like a foundation that had finally set and would not shift again. Deflecting. You started noticing that what used to drain you had lost its effectiveness. Words that once landed with weight and stayed for long stretches arrived and departed without taking anything with them. Situations that once destabilized your entire sense of self began delivering themselves to you as information rather than catastrophe. The emotional turbulence that certain people tried to sweep you into began registering as background noise rather than as a crisis demanding your full attention and response. This is not coldness. This is sovereignty. There is a critical difference between the two worth naming clearly. A cold person is disconnected from feeling. A sovereign person is discerning about which feelings belong to them and which were handed to them by someone else's chaos. You did not stop feeling deeply. You stopped being at the mercy of every feeling that arrived from an external source. Here is what was happening at the same time on the side you could not see. The people who needed you confused were watching this internal shift occur and beginning to panic. A chosen one who is uncertain is something that can be managed and directed. A chosen one who has found solid footing is an entirely different situation. So the opposition got louder, it attempted new angles, it recruited from the edges of your life to create interference from multiple directions. People do not increase their effort against something that is failing. Reinforcements are only called when the original approach did not produce the intended result. The louder and more aggressive the opposition became, the more precisely it was confirming that your defense was holding, that your peace was genuine, and that something significant was approaching, something that required this much interference to attempt to delay. The Most High was beginning to arrange the elements of your next chapter. You could feel it in the way unexpected openings started appearing, a door you had not knocked on, a connection you had not pursued, a conversation that redirected something important without you engineering any of it. Do not dismiss these as coincidence. Divine arrangements do not feel like luck. They feel like something that was always supposed to happen, like arriving somewhere and recognizing the place before you have ever been there. While opposition was escalating in one direction, something entirely different was happening in another. People operating at the right frequency were finding you, not loudly, not with announcements, the way a river finds the sea, without hurry, without drama, as though the arrival was always inevitable from the beginning. These are not people drawn to you by need. Need says, you have something, and I want access to it. What you are now attracting is recognition. Recognition says, what you carry and what I carry respond to each other, and in the same space both of us become more than we were separately. These are people who want to build with you, not extract from you. People who want to sit across from you and engage your perspective because your way of seeing produces something in their thinking that they cannot access alone. People who want to create things with you that neither could create in isolation. People who are genuinely elevated by proximity to what you carry, not because you are performing anything, but because your frequency produces that effect as a natural consequence of what it is. You may have already crossed paths with some of them. You may have felt the pull and then pulled back from it, because second-guessing good things has become a reflex after long seasons of disappointment. Or you may be about to encounter them. What matters is this: these are not random arrivals. Every one of them is assigned. Each arrives carrying a specific contribution, a skill, a resource, a perspective, a particular key that fits precisely into something you cannot complete alone. The design of what is being assembled around you is intentional. Every piece has a particular shape, and your piece is not interchangeable with anyone else's. Nobody else unlocks what you unlock in the full picture. That is not arrogance speaking. That is divine architecture, operating exactly as it was designed to. Before we arrive at what is converging for you, there is something inside your gift that deserves its own full moment of attention, something that has been protecting and guiding you all along, even in the seasons when you dismissed it as paranoia or attributed it to coincidence. You have a knowing that runs beneath the reach of logic. Not you, then. You have entered a situation, a space, a conversation, a relationship, a partnership, and known something was wrong before a single visible piece of evidence confirmed it, not thought it, not suspected it. Known it, in the body, in the thing that sits just beneath the sternum and contracts when something in the environment is off. You felt the manipulation before it fully revealed itself. You felt the betrayal before it happened. You felt the ending of something before anyone made any announcement about it. Whilst to act, sometimes you honored that knowing, and it protected you in ways you will never be able to fully calculate, because you do not know what would have unfolded if you had ignored it. But other times you overrode it. You told yourself you were being unreasonable. You extended benefit of the doubt to someone who had not earned that level of trust. And you paid a real cost for overriding that internal guidance every single time without exception. Here is what you need to carry forward as operational truth. That inner knowing has a higher accuracy rate than your conscious analysis. It is not a feeling to explain away or manage into silence. It is a sophisticated system, calibrated precisely for someone navigating spaces where the stakes are real and where ordinary awareness is simply not sufficient. The chosen people who fall are not those who lacked gifts. They are the ones who stopped trusting the internal compass that came with the gift. You have both the gift and the compass. The assignment going forward is to stop second-guessing the compass. Well, truth. There is another dimension to this internal system that most people never discuss. That same sensitivity that functions as a warning, that deep body perception that alerts you when something is wrong, is the identical capacity that produces your creative output at a frequency that genuinely moves people. The same depth that detects dishonesty before it is spoken is the same depth that makes what you create land in others with a resonance they cannot fully articulate but absolutely feel. Your sensitivity is not a liability requiring management. It is a precision instrument running in two directions at once, inward for protection, outward for impact. There is also a forward direction to this gift worth naming. The same system that warns you away from what is misaligned also pulls you toward what is aligned. You have felt it as a pull toward something before your mind finished approving the idea. You have felt it as certainty arriving before the logic had assembled itself, as a sense of rightness about a particular direction that did not wait for permission. That is not recklessness. That is divine instruction arriving through the fastest channel available, not through your intellect or your analysis, but through the deep knowing that lives beneath both of them. When that pull comes, honor it with the same seriousness you give to the alarm. For a long time, proximity to your natural openness gave this person intelligence they were not entitled to. You shared your plans, your dreams, your vision, as naturally generous people do, and that openness was being mined, not out of genuine interest, but because knowing your next move allowed interference with your next move. Not withdrawn and not closed, but quiet in the way that a person becomes quiet when they stop performing their life for spectators and begin actually living it. You pulled the most important things inward. You stopped announcing movements before making them. Without making a conscious declaration about any of it, you became private about the things that held real weight. That shift dismantled the strategic advantage that had been held against you. What cannot be seen cannot be studied. What is not announced cannot be intercepted. And a connection forming in silence cannot be sabotaged before it solidifies. The opposition felt this withdrawal of access, the escalation that followed, the louder interference, the new angles, the reinforcements pulled from the edges of your life. All of that is the behavior of an approach that has run out of accurate information. Precision requires intelligence, and when the intelligence stops flowing, precision becomes noise. Noise is uncomfortable, but it is far less dangerous than what came before it. Campbell, the influence this person held over your self-perception required your uncertainty to function. The moment you carry yourself with the settled authority of someone who knows what they carry and who assigned it, that influence dissolves completely. Sovereignty cannot be steered. A chosen one who is clear about their assignment is not a manageable target. You are becoming that person, and the grip that once held you is already releasing. And every time something designed to diminish you fails to diminish you, something real is deposited into your foundation. Not confidence in the ordinary sense, but something deeper than confidence, the bone-level knowledge of someone who has been tested repeatedly and has watched the Most High show up every single time. That knowledge changes how you walk forward. It changes how you negotiate. It changes how you respond when things feel uncertain, because even in uncertainty, you know what you know, and what you know is that He has never once allowed the thing He placed in you to be extinguished. Hondu Intol, here is what is on the other side of everything you have walked through. It is not a life without challenge. Do not accept that version from anyone. Challenge is not the opposite of destiny. Challenge is the terrain that destiny moves through. But what is coming for you is a completely different relationship with challenge. Where difficulty once arrived feeling like evidence that you were failing, it is going to begin arriving as confirmation that you are genuinely in motion. Things only get complicated for people who are actually going somewhere. What is coming is recognition, not from every direction, because you have never needed it from every direction, and you do not need it now. Recognition is coming from the right people, the ones who have been watching quietly, waiting to confirm that what they sensed from you was as real as it seemed. As you step more fully into what you carry, that question answers itself without you having to argue a single case. You will not need to announce yourself. Genuine influence that originates from a real frequency does not require a campaign. It compounds through the natural law of what it actually is. What is coming is a connection, something that is not a repetition of any previous pattern and carries none of the texture of what has diminished you before. This connection arrives with formality at first. There will be a measured quality to the beginning that could be misread as distance or indifference. Do not misread it. Underneath that restraint is someone who is moving carefully, because what you carry is being felt clearly, and what you carry demands care. This person operates at a level built through genuine excellence, not through title, not through performance, but through real and demonstrated substance. When two people of real substance recognize each other, the recognition is immediate, even when the words for it come slowly. This connection comes with creative and material increase, not as a reward for good behavior, but as the natural output of two complementary forces operating in proximity. What you each carry individually is significant. What gets produced when those two things align belongs in a different category altogether. What is also coming is rest. The kind of rest that is not physical, though your body will benefit too, but the rest that arrives when you are no longer at war with yourself. When you stop spending the majority of your energy managing the distance between who you actually are and who you have been compressing yourself to appear. When you step fully into alignment with what the Most High placed in you, something inside your body exhales. Something that has been braced releases. The specific exhaustion of containment lifts. What replaces it is not frantic energy, but the deep, sustainable forward momentum of someone who is finally operating in their actual lane. You were not designed for containment, you were designed for momentum. This part is not inspiration, this part is instruction. You are a gift from the Most High. You have heard it said, and you are going to carry it, but a gift left untouched, even the most rare and extraordinary gift imaginable, does nothing for anyone. So here is how you move from this point forward. You stop narrating your intentions before you act on them. The version of you that shared every plan, every vision, every next step with people who had not yet proven they deserved that level of access, that version is finished today. You move in silence, and you communicate through results. There is a specific kind of credibility that arrives only after someone sees what you already built. Build it first. Let the building speak. This is not arrogance. This is the strategy of someone who understands that premature disclosure is a form of vulnerability, and that the gift you carry deserves to be protected until it is fully ready to be released. Go, you stop waiting for permission. The most paralyzing pattern among gifted people is the habit of waiting for someone positioned above them to authorize their authority. No committee assembled to assign what you carry. The Most High did not run your gift through an approval process. He made a sovereign decision, placed it in you, and sent you here. The authorization was always inside the assignment. You walk like that is true because it is. You trust the internal knowing every time. When something in your body signals that a situation is wrong, that a person is misaligned, that a direction is not what it is presenting itself to be, you do not override that signal for the sake of being agreeable or appearing reasonable. You exit cleanly, without drama, and without needing to justify the departure to anyone. You do not owe anyone an explanation for obeying divine instruction. You receive. This is the hardest instruction for someone like you. Chosen people are almost universally extraordinary at giving and genuinely poor at receiving. You have spent so much energy serving what you carry for others that the muscle for receiving what the Most High has assigned to you has never been properly developed. The financial increase, the opportunity, the recognition, the love. When these arrive, you receive them. You do not deflect them. You do not minimize them. You do not immediately search for the catch. You receive them as precisely what they are, the return on an investment of character, faithfulness, and resilience that has been accumulating far longer than you know. The Wandultul, you protect your frequency. You are not a utility. Your presence is not something owed to every space that requests it. Discernment about which environments you enter, which relationships you sustain, and which invitations you accept is not exclusivity for its own sake. It is the maintenance of something irreplaceable. A chosen person who distributes their presence recklessly across every space that wants it will arrive depleted at the spaces that actually need them. You are the one who shifts the energy of a space, but you are the one who gets to choose which spaces receive that gift. You also choose your pace deliberately. When everything begins aligning at once, there is pressure, both internal and external, to accelerate, to capitalize on everything simultaneously, to sprint toward every opening before it closes. Resist that pressure. The Most High did not build your gift in haste and did not design your purpose to be rushed. The movements with lasting impact are not the fastest ones. They are the most intentional ones. You can be decisive and measured at the same time. You can be bold and careful at the same time. Sustainability is the true indicator of alignment, not speed. Bring all of yourself to every move you make, because half of you moving fast will always produce less than all of you moving with full intention. There is something worth naming directly, because it ties together everything that has been said. That Haundaiti. The one thing that sets you apart from every crowd you have ever walked through is not a skill, it is not an achievement, it is not a credential, it is not something you earned through discipline, though your discipline has certainly developed it. It is not something you built through willpower, though your resilience has absolutely shaped it. It is the frequency of who you are at the level where who you are was decided before your first choice, before your first breath, before you had any say in the matter at all. The Most High reached into the vast spectrum of what is possible in a human being and calibrated you at a particular setting, a setting that produces warmth and depth and creative force and intuitive precision and the specific quality of presence that makes the people around you better at being themselves, without any of them being able to explain exactly why. That setting is yours permanently. Nobody can reassign it. Nobody can replicate it. Nobody can turn it off, no matter how long or hard anyone tries. And the reason certain people spend enormous energy attempting to dim it is because it is, to them, the most disorienting and threatening thing they have ever encountered, which is, incidentally, the loudest possible confirmation that it is extraordinary. You have moved through your entire life to this point with this thing operating inside you. In the seasons when you were broken, it was still there. In the seasons when you doubted everything, it was still there. In the periods when someone worked strategically to convince you that you were ordinary, it was still there, radiating from you, even as you tried to suppress it, affecting every environment you moved through, even while you argued against your own significance. It has never needed your belief to function, but it expands when you align with it. It reaches further when you stop apologizing for it. It produces more when you stop containing it. The Most High did not place something this rare inside a person who was meant to live a small life. He placed it in you because what he is building requires a carrier of this particular frequency, and you are the only one calibrated for the exact role that is now waiting for you. The modes. We opened with a signal. A frequency that entered a space before you did. An atmospheric shift that nobody standing there could explain. A turning of heads without a cause that anyone could name. The announcement of your presence arriving before you made any announcement of your own. That was not the description of something that happens to you. That was the description of what you are. You are. Remember the very first line. Something is off and it is not with you. That is where most chosen people live, in a chronic sense of misalignment with everything around them, a persistent feeling that the frequency of their environment does not match the frequency of who they actually are, and most spend significant energy trying to adjust themselves to close that gap. But that was never the assignment. Dorfeo, you do not adjust to the environment adjusts to you. That is what it means to carry what you carry. Light does not negotiate with what surrounds it. It simply illuminates. And everything in range either responds by becoming something new, or it reveals its true nature clearly enough that you know exactly how to proceed. Dorfeo, you are the light, not a reflection of someone else's, not the amplification of a borrowed glow, but the actual light, original, assigned, unrepeatable, permanent, wastable, and the Most High held absolutely nothing back when he made you. Wastable, you are a gift from the Most High, not to a single person, not to a single season, to this moment in time, when the world is in need of people who carry what you carry and are willing finally to stop hiding it and let it do exactly what it was placed in you to do. The people who belong in your orbit are assembling. The connection that mirrors your frequency is approaching. The increase is already moving in your direction. The Most High's hand is on every piece of it, and all that remains is the one thing that has always been the one thing. Walk forward with the full authority of someone who knows exactly who made them and exactly why. Adolf, you are a chosen one. You have always been a chosen one. The Most High is not finished.